Hello everyone, the emergency response that our group is going to discuss is the bushfire facing Kunai country in Gippsland. Our group members include Danyang Wang, Yan Yuluo, and Liu Youchen. Our speech consists of 4 parts: site analysis, inhabitant analysis, strategy analysis, and reference list. Firstly, I will introduce the site analysis of Gippsland. Kunai country is located in the Gippsland of Victoria. The Kunai people are the traditional owners of most of the Gippsland, including mountains, forests, rivers, and lakes, and have a rich natural landscape. Therefore, the different terrain of the area supports the survival of a variety of plants and animals, including many endangered species such as the marble daisy birch, eastern Bristol bird, and New Holland mouse. These plants and animals are unique to this area. However, bushfire events have significantly increased in the Gippsland, and the local area faces serious ecological and environmental challenges. As shown in the figure, the area in Australia most severely affected by bushfires is Western Australia, while many major fires have happened in Victoria. Of the 2 most severely bushfires in Australian history, both have affected Gippsland. The first was the Bad Summer, which happened from July 2019 to March 2020, and the second was the Gippsland Fire and Black Saturday, which happened from February to March 1926. Gippsland is an area that is frequently affected by bushfire. The Kunai people who live there are often affected by this fire. This bushfire pose a risk to the unique culture of Kunai country. Additionally, the bushfire have had a negative impact on the natural environment, the local people's tourism industry, and the survival of the unique wildlife in the area. This is a map showing the area in Gippsland that experienced bushfire from 1927 to 2020. The highest risk area in Gippsland are towns that border forests, such as Noyet, Erica, Milbornos, Burston, Can River, and Malakota. These areas are home to different clans of the Kunai people. Regarding bushfires that often affected the Kunai people, we have investigated the cause of frequent bushfire in the area. The first is high temperatures. The report vulnerability of the Gippsland Lakes Ramsar site to bushfire and climate change indicated that when comparing the period from 1950 to 1985 and from 1985 to 2020, the frequencies of dangerous fire weather days in Gippsland has increased by 15%. Climate change is considered to be a part of this trend. According to John Clark and others in Gippsland Climate Projections 2019, the temperatures in Victoria risen by more than 1 degree centigrade since 1910. They expect the warming trend to continue, so the temperature in Gippsland will also rise. In particular, under the high emission scenario of greenhouse gas, they expect the median of the highest temperatures in Gippsland to rise by 1.2 degrees centigrade by the 2030 and then reach 2 degrees centigrade by 2050s. The next factor is the decline in rainfall. John Clark and others also point out in the same report that rainfall in Victoria has decreased in most seasons, while rainfall in Gippsland has varied more, and it is expected that Gippsland will mainly be affected by natural change in the next 10 years. Under the high greenhouse gas emissions scenarios, the median annual rainfall may decrease by 15% by the end of the century, and spring rainfall may decrease by 29%. Dr. Michael Bryan says that most of the rainfall in Gippsland occurs between late autumn and early spring, and winter temperatures are above average while rainfall is below average, creating a dry environment. The decline in precipitation in the area will result in more soil become dry. Soil moisture directly affects the growth of vegetation and water content. Dry soil leads to plant wilting and increased vulnerability, which will affect the spread and extent of fires. By the way, climate issues also affect Australia's sea levels. The vulnerability of the Gippsland Lake Ramsar site to bushfire and climate change also mentions that since 1880, global sea levels have risen by approximately 25 centimeters due to ocean warming and glacier melting. Since 1993, the sea level along the southern coast of Australia has risen by approximately 6 millimeters annually. These are other factors that contribute to bushfire. Different types of soil support the growth of different types of plants, and dense vegetation is more likely to trigger fire and accelerate their spread. The Victorian Department of Fire Management has pointed out that large areas of high-risk forest in Gippsland may cause fire to spread and intensify, then affect communities. Dry lightning days are also linked to bushfire and climate change, increasing the frequency and severity of weather conditions that leads to lightning-induced fire. While early investigations noted human activities as fire causes, since the mid-20th century, lightning has become the primary cause. The New South Wales Smart Sensing Network reports that over 90% of the area burned in the 2019 to 2020 Brett summer bushfire was due to lightning. To address this issue, the New South Wales Smart Sensing Network is developing a new lightning detection system to help firefighting agencies focus on high-rise lightning events. However, the project aims to detect the burning point after the formation of bushfire in order for firefighting agencies to intervene, and Gippsland currently has targets to reduce the rise of bushfire, including fuel management, established fire zone, and vegetation management. Therefore, we can focus our design on other aspects, such as measures to prevent bushfire caused by lightning, climate regulation, designing infrastructure that can withstand climate change, especially in preventing bushfire. We can also focus on education, raise public awareness of the ecological and cultural importance of the Gurunai country, encourage sustainable lifestyles, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
The next part is the analysis of inhabitants. The Gurunai people are native to southeastern Australia, and they are the original owners of Gippsland. About their background, their society is made up of 5 main tribes. We know that indigenous people have lost many of their rights since colonization. So, to improve the lives of Gurunai people, it is essential to clarify their legal rights, which should reflect their status as the first peoples of this country. Some of the Gurunai people's basic rights have been recognized in some documents. However, they still face disadvantages in areas like the economy and education. Surveys shows that many people lack understanding of the real situation of indigenous people, reflecting society's ignorance and misunderstanding of indigenous issues. In Guru Kurunai people's value, it is their duty to protect and take care of their country, which is a strong cultural and spiritual bond. Here are two artworks about nature and animals made by Guru Kurunai people. Another aspect of the Guru Kurunai people's values is their community concept. They see caring for their country as everyone's responsibility. This duty is part of their culture. The Guru Kurunai's way of managing things focuses on the community. They make decisions together to suit everyone's needs. These rulers shapes their sense of community. So the next part is the connection between Guru Kurunai people and fire. They have their own way to manage fire, and they have a way of burning called cool broom, which would be introduced later. The picture is a landscape cleared regularly use managed fire. This fire management method has been used through generations for thousands of years. The painting here was painted in 1860 to 1861, and it shows the massive impact of fire on the environment. Some European settlers also began to learn about their fire management. However, as Europeans settled and expanded, the land experienced frequent bushfires, mainly due to Europeans' ignorance of forest ecology and disregard for the impact on Guru Kurunai country. This picture shows the extent and conditions of bushfires in the Gippsland region since 1950. So the next part is the impact of bushfire on Guru Kurunai people. There are mainly three aspects: ecological, cultural, and psychological. In the 2019 to 2020 bushfires, the land was damaged seriously, and it also caused habitat loss and made many animals in danger. Some bird population declined by more than 30%, and also the plant diversity was affected. Additionally, bushfire can lead to reduced vegetation and exposed soil, increasing the risk of erosion and theft of cultural heritage. This is a survey conducted in 2020 on the inhabitants of Gippsland. From this survey, we can see that the mental health of the inhabitants needs attention. As we can see in the picture, they may feel anxiety or isolated after the bushfire. These years, Guru Kurunai people have reintroduced traditional fire management methods. Also, use the cultural burning to promote ecological restoration and cultural identity. This practice not only aids in ecological management, but also strengthens the connection among community members and helps to continue their culture. Guru Kurunai culture burning focuses on respecting cultural practice and involving the community. By establishing a firefighting team, the Guru Kurunai people can conduct cultural burns in a safe and supportive environment, share traditional stories, and strengthen community cohesion. These two pictures show the governance structure, participate, and strategic goals of Guru Kurunai culture burning. Through the study of the Guru Kurunai people, I think these 5 points can be emphasized in our future designs.
Hi, I am Dan Yang. Today I will discussing strategy analyze. There are three key points I will be discussing. First, cultural bonding, community collaboration, and finally, framework. Cultural bonding is a technique that long-term used by the Ghana colonies and other Australian Aboriginal people to handle land and ecosystems. There are many positive effects and promotes the plant growth and improves soil health and create more suitable habitat for wildlife. Finally, reduce fuel accumulation in the forest. So let's start talk about the differences between the cool fire and the hot fire. As for cool burns, the burn speed is low, temperature is low, flame height is just keen highs. As for hot burns, the speed is fast, the temperature is very high, and the flame height will more than 1.5 meters. There is a detailed comparison between the cool burn and hot burn. It's obvious that hot burn feature more serious negative impacts. However, there are many negative effects on cultural burning. Regulation increasingly limited the cultural burning because people began to fear fire around their set. Moreover, cultural burning would cause loss of habitat, decline of species, erosions, flooding, increase of carbon dioxide emissions, and the destruction of Aboriginal rock art. The above factors lead to an environment change from low open ignitability forest to high ignitability closed forest. Now I will present community collaboration. Community-based fire management. In 2019 and 2020, wildfires surprised Southeast Australia. About 13 of Ghana colonized country was affected. Ghana colonized bushfire recovery crew was born. Now let's move on community education and wellness. Ghana Kanrai institutes such as Ghana Kanrai Land and Water Aboriginal Collaboration actively teach their community on fire prevention and land management. Though holding workshops and discussions, all community members, including the younger generation, fire risk awareness is improved and how to respond effectively. Let's talk about another part of involvement in land management projects. Many Ghana Kanrai people participate in land management projects such as cleaning fire breaks, maintaining local ecosystems, and restoring areas affected by previous fires. These collective efforts strengthen cultural bonds and community defensive against future fires. Let's move on the last part of community collaboration, modern fire prevention combined with traditional techniques. In 2017, Culture Fire Management Unit was created by NSW government to manage and sustain the recovery of culture land management programs in NSW. In recent years, the Ghana Kanrais have collaborated with the Australia government to combine traditional culture burning with modern fire prevention techniques. Framework. It comes from National Bushfire Management Policy Statement. First, maintain appropriate fire management in Australia's forest. Second, balance the environmental impacts of the fire. Finally, have indigenous Australia's use of fire. Now let's start the first president. Clearland Conservation Park is located in South Australia, where in February 2009, forest fire carried off 170 lives. Design a plan which combine remote sensors embedded into environment with specific site landscape design strategies. For example, remote sensors monitor real-time data such as humidity, wind, temperature, plant density, and water availability. They are factors that affect the feasibility of bushfire.
In the dry season, weather modifiers will spread fog all over the area to increase humidity, utilizing the normal sea wind crossing over the places. Modifiers scatter the seed of fire-resistant cypress trees along the ridges of the environment. After a while, the tree walls finally grew up windbreaks that contribute to mitigate bushfires.
This is the second precedent. During the past century, bushfires have more and more frequent and serious than historical records in San Gabriel Mountains. This is a timber habitat. The part of burnt timber is buried into the soil to increase filtration and provide ideal habitat opportunities. After forest fire, the places provide an essential area for small animals to protect themselves. Otherwise, these places would be barren until plant renewal over the next few years.
The population corridors are created by small-scale cut and fill process. There are various plants on serpentine bombs and blasted by large rocks, saving water, and appealing cave nesting animals. Vegetation roots become stable, the slope taking water, and maintain the soil ecosystems.
The design is a bushfire-rated skylight. It uses materials that can withstand high heat. The structure has a modular design so the size and shape can be changed to fit different buildings. The design also makes production faster, reduces material waste and cost, and makes the skylight easier to install.
This poster showcased the article graphic design of the 2019 to 2020 Australian bushfire emergency, depicting the scenes of two firefighters facing the bushfire and what the front line has been caused. At the bottom of the poster, there is a QR code and the text, "Demand real climate action now, bushfire brandism." This poster is part of a series of 41 digital printed posters aimed at posting against climate change and documenting the community's response to these significant events, reflecting a continued concern for climate change. And then this is our reference list. This is all the contents of our group. Thanks for your watching.